Now, Tshwane Mayor Cilliers Brink says he's unfazed by next week's motion of no confidence against him. He's blaming ActionSA for the governing coalition's collapse. Brink today outlined the successes of his administration since he took over. He joins us now for more on this. Welcome to you, Mr. Mayor. You're saying you're unfazed by this. This motion of no confidence has been looming for quite some time now. And if the actions and words of ActionSA leadership are anything to go by, perhaps you should be a little bit fazed, because come next week, this time, you may no longer be the mayor.
Masa, I'm certainly not unfazed. This is a significant risk. We've made considerable progress as a multi-party coalition. We've improved the finances of the city, the audit outcome. We've recruited a new top management. They are steadily changing the organizational culture. We have devised a credible solution for the decades-long problem of Hammanskraal water. And what ActionSA has done, reneging on the agreement, attacking their own coalition partners, risks wiping out that progress. I'm certainly not unfazed, but what I did mention was that I think that Mr. Mashaba and ActionSA had made pronouncements before they, in fact, have any alternative. And that this is, aside from being deceitful, it's also political incompetence. So I really hope that steady and reasonable folks will prevail and that we will be able to preserve the progress we've made.
And speaking of that progress as well, Mr. Mayor, certain leaders as well from ActionSA have come back at you to give criticism about what you have called progress. And I want to go through some of those things that they have flagged as well. Owing Eskom 6.8 billion rand, owing municipal workers R1 billion, achieving a qualified audit. And as we also heard from the Auditor General earlier on this year as well, when she was giving the municipalities finances to say municipalities shouldn't rest on that qualified audit section, but also 57% performance targets met. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Mayor?
So firstly, ActionSA has been part of government for longer than I've been the mayor. They've been at the center of decision-making. They've enjoyed considerable power sharing. And if there is credit to be taken or criticism to be accepted, they must be right there next to each and every coalition partner to accept that criticism as well. You can't refer to the successes and then blame the supposed failures on your coalition partners. When I became the mayor, the city did have an adverse audit finding. We've improved that since. Also something that ActionSA acknowledged before Mr. Mashaba decided to take a sledgehammer to the coalition. We've improved that to a qualified audit. And I'm so certain about the quality of the financial statements submitted this year that I'm sure that we will achieve an unqualified audit. The city of Tshwane certainly has problems that need to be addressed. Things aren't perfect, but that's exactly why you're in government. You're not here to be hand-wringing victims of circumstance. You're here to take responsibility for fixing things. And I think our finances, including the unaudited financials which National Treasury has published, shows significant improvement. A lot of work still needs to be done, but I think we've done something quite remarkable here, and it is worth preserving.
One can't shy away from the politics of it too, what happens at national, how it trickles down to local politics as well. You're saying ActionSA has taken a sledgehammer to its coalition partners too. ActionSA turns around and says that's exactly what the Democratic Alliance did to its Moonshot Pact when it got into that GNU. Now, of course, the numbers weren't enough to form that government out of the Moonshot Pact. But I wanted to also make mention, Mr. Mayor, in an interview I was watching and on another channel that the leader of ActionSA, Herman Mashaba, did do. He spoke about how there became this deficit of trust between you and, the DA in Tshwane and ActionSA in particular. And this happened after the 29 May elections. He claims that the DA went to the ANC in the Gauteng province to basically say we can form a government of provincial unity and we don't need to include ActionSA. So they were going to be snubbed as ActionSA had refused to take part in that GNU at a national level. And because he feels that the Democratic Alliance acted in a very deceitful and backstabbing way, this is why we find ourselves where we are now.
And of course, when Mr. Mashaba is asked, where does he find this information? His first answer is, oh, I don't have to give any evidence of it. So the stories for their ex post facto, or the ex post facto stories for their deceitful conduct, or the absolute dishonesty, keeps on changing every day. It also depends who you ask. So first it was poor service delivery, then it was the finances, and then this accusation. The fact of the matter, Masa, is that until a few weeks ago, I was pleading with Michael Beaumont, the national chairperson of ActionSA. He suggested a meeting. He never honored that suggestion. I said to him, I said to the Deputy Mayor, Nasipi Moya, what is the issue? Because we don't have local problems. We've resolved all of our disputes. What grievance is there to address? Why would somebody who has made some kind of a secret deal with the ANC try at the 11th hour to preserve this coalition? It's just not credible. The fact of the matter is that Mr. Mashaba and the ActionSA were shaken by their poor showing in the 2024 general election. They do not have a clear, unique selling position to the public. They don't have a distinct worldview, and the voters sense that, and now they're blaming the DA for it. And I think that Mr. Mashaba is afraid that if we succeed in Tshwane, if we turn around the finances, if we solve Hammanskraal water, then the voters won't credit his party for those successes. But what he is doing now is absolutely irresponsible, and I believe that the voters will hold ActionSA to account at the next election.
Quickly, Mr. Mayor, before I let you go too, you're saying what they're doing now as ActionSA is irresponsible. If they come around and saying, well, we are our own independent political party, we do not have to stay in bed with you, this is our choice, and we don't believe that you're doing a good job.
In the era of coalitions, it is absolutely important that parties don't just follow their internal processes, but that they meet their external commitments. They were a signatory to a coalition agreement. You know, your word is your honor at the very least. And that is why we've got provisions on dispute resolutions, on cancellations. You know, Masa, I had to find out about the supposed confirmation that they're leaving the coalition, not through a formal notice, but some video taken of Mashaba speaking somewhere, announcing the decision to his party structures. So I think ActionSA's behavior has been deplorable, and I think other parties will look to them and say, do we really want an unpredictable partner such as that, who would turn on a dime and try and take advantage when things don't go perfectly and claim the successes for themselves?
Mayor Cilliers Brink, thank you so much for your time.